Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Of Scribes and Men. And as you all know, we're on our next little journey of reading each volume as they come up. 100 poems per volume, as per usual. This will never be not the case. Every volume I do, anything I do regarding poems that is complete will always have, whether I do this challenge or out of this challenge, anything I do that has a complete thing will always have 100 poems in it. Unless something happens. There are always exceptions to the rules, but at least with the volumes that I'm doing on this road to 10,000 poems by November 2026, there will always be 100 poems. But, anyways, let's get into volume 23. What have we to say in times affected by those who try and those rejected? Souls of those who've lost their connection, seeking that time for any affection. We lived among shadows, away from city lights, to the sound of nature's reprieve, and died. A yell into the void, where many men do weep, as no one hears their own sorrow and tears. This would be the first time I've done Cinquains. So just so you know, first time I've done these. This will be a continuing thing. Anytime I pick up a poetic form, I continue using them as we go on. Anyways, moving on. He who moves fast like a cheetah must soon also rest himself. Have you ever worked things out of spite to try and conquer and set things right, and wield it straight from the hand before calling out to a distant land? Path of the fire set ablaze under the smile of a pyromaniac's gaze, watching everything become ash and dust, embraced by the fire's passion and lust. I'll fix that. There we go. Save. A splash of water frozen to the bone, water 40 below, we should have known. Yet here we... that should be yet here we are. Oh, no, sorry. No, that's right. Splash of water frozen to the bone, water 40 below, we should have known. Yet here we freeze within winter's frost, was the challenge worth the cost? I thought that said freezing for a moment, which I was like, wait a minute. Silent house with a ghost haunting. Silent house with ghosts a haunting. Forget a soul when it's the body they're wanting. Now possessed through your chest and mind, ever awake but forever mute and blind. We laughed to hide the pain within our masks and smiles, as emotion longed to escape and cry. And then Etheree, or this is specifically a reverse Etheree. Once again, first time doing these, will not be the last. I don't dabble, I consume. Upon the trumpets of a sudden war, the hounds of hell are let out the door, as destruction comes in its wake for each soul to go take, as the people lament of peace gone and spent, moments before our last breath as we die. In the wind stillness, within a summer night's day, longing for respite. Try as I might, as God laughs at my plan, in procrastination's place, the way of a man. Try and break out, yet time has passed by, and so I sigh, ever asking myself why. Take the keys to try and lock in, games with the self I long to win. Distractions come along to fight for the ground it wants me to bite. Learn a new style and flash a smile, shutting a runway to flash and beguile, for all the bags worn on the body and head, as I ponder the words written and said. Ways of a failure may I be your guide, with grand promises ever by your side, knowing it will always end up falling apart, as we once again from the beginning must start. Harder and harder I try and go, for the plans only I set and know, so harder and harder I then fall, as my life comes to try and stall. Emotional poetry in the state of my hand, did I ever ask or even know how to plan? And so here I stand as my eyes grow weary, all all while I try to continue and see more clearly. Is there a diversity in speed the faster I go, with lexical elegance that I long to show? Yet has it all gone and fallen apart right at the moment you long to depart? Is it Murphy's Law when procrastination is to blame for consequences nothing else can go and claim? And so frustration starts setting in as I face off with a mirror of my own sin. Catch a person by the hand as they fall, then let go for the sake of one and all, down into the waters below, watching the splash as they swim and go. Cyanide on my lips, a laced poisonous kiss. Will you take the dare between life and death, with morbid curiosity in a show you can't miss, and just like that, one last breath. Silent storms coming in, their rage, shattering every metal cage, spiraling down to a calm wind, satisfied before they finally rescind. Tales of the head and matters of the sane, seeking ways through their silent pain. Hexadecimal with the masks we put on before the moment our mind is gone. We traveled on and on until the dawn to try and find rest, never needing the best, just a place to crash and sleep, falling deep into dreams we keep. Till midnight sky to morning's dawn, we traveled on and on as ghosts now gone. The night creeping in, like silent shadows on the lawn, watching through the windowsill as faces gone silent and still. All you've come to kill and rob, leaving behind windows to mourn and sob. Revenge taken, do you call yourself pleased of all you've claimed and seized? To know the masks of pain hidden behind a smile, only to feel numb for a while, then break. Flinch from touch, call me starved, from all the missing moments never carved. No puzzle pieces of connection, only void of everything built and then destroyed. Defrosting souls and call it a feast, into the maws of a joyful beast, for the annihilation of body and mind, so past assault, if you'd be so kind. Snow-tipped mountains off in the distance in scenic majesty, looming beauty within the frost of midwinter's frigid air, the moments taken for granted that we let pass us by. Down by the river Styx, upon the waves where souls do mix, into amalgamations of woe, from the stories other fear to go. Moments of enrapture before we cry, within the deathbeds where all will die. The reaper comes to take and guide down the river for a sudden ride. Running from sleep under the moonlight, as sheep come jumping and tracking on sight, to lull a body into the realm of blissful dreams, where confusion seeps in and nothing is as it seems. Head down from the outside buzz, never finding the invisible cause. Held on by the highest of stakes, try not to fold before the other takes. Stumble and sway into the beds we lay, never waking up the next sunny day. The midnight lights carrying a soul to take from the ebb and flow from the silent lake. Moments of laughter and sudden glee, with infectious joy that has come to be, through the solemn hospital halls, where with ears that are within the walls. A splash of color into the autumn season, as pumpkins come out. Ooh. Words into God's mouth of what they speak, with souls mired in darkness as they reek, never understanding the gift that washes us free away from sin to the eternal glory of God to be. Wibble and wobble onto the floor at full throttle, from one to many while drowning in a bottle. Now up with a fearful start and a pounding head, nursing yourself from reckless actions, wishing to be dead. What actions of sacrifice that lie under the platter, from convictions made that always matter, to know you've done all you could, among the places and hills you've stood. Echoes of your vanity, can you see me bleed? A one-way path in the essence of your greed. Try to come closer behind the chasms between, of distance created every moment unseen. Falling in reverse and suddenly flying towards a lack of breath, and now I'm dying. So call me a shooting star when I catch on fire, a momentary flicker of your ashes and desire. Spike of pressure in my body. Spike of pressure in my blood is jumping, wheeze of the chest with the heart pumping. A moment of entropy, and we begin to fade from games of chess, life and death played. A mask of seduction behind your smile, power held in your hand that makes men fall. Skin upon skin bids us to stay a while, a mask of seduction behind your smile, laced with bodies of people you beguile, to enchant with a voice and siren call. A mask of seduction behind your smile, a power held in your hand that makes men fall. A cold winter's air blowing across the frozen feelings of the heart from a love that sought to thaw like the flowers of summer. Laugh for a moment when called a child, from words spoken sent out into the wild, guided by the perception of those who blow things spoken to where they wish them to go. For every fantasy will you pay the price, from escapism's allure with no need to come twice. So how low will you bow and go for a single taste, to never notice a soul now ever going to waste? Into hell's flame with no devil to see, for that is not yet his place to go and be. Yet you all allow yourselves to go and be a fool, from a disguised being of light who wished to rule. Temper your expectations into something small, from the tower you now did fall, from the consequences that came to act, all while you try to avoid the simple fact. Singing songs of a siren's sweet kiss, beheld to be beguiled and never to miss, held now in her arms within her home and protection, anchoring now to become your awe and affection. Crash of the tempest, just like your lies, believed it like a fool, thinking they're wise, and so you've gone and left another mark, as I try and find my way through the dark. Must I feel guilt in the standard I write? Speed is a weapon in the hand set alight, for I seek not to be paralyzed as I go, with all the words I come to show. And then, here we go. Down upon the moonlit mountains in wind serenity, the crane carries a message of life. Paranoia like eyes around, staring at your back, every subtle movement, wondering who will attack, as conspiracies begin to fill the mind with lies, never believing the truth, no matter who tries. Oh no, here she comes to set the heart ablaze, with a sly smile into a dangerous gaze. All declaim the thing she desires, wading through hordes of liars. What matters of desire that parade in the head, from a single life to a life where one is wed? Loneliness a blessing and a curse that creeps in, arguments with the self that we will never go and win. Pretty little liars and their brittle little wings, with a truth of a songbird that no one ever sings, caught from a myriad of paths that go on ahead, so be careful where you step, lest you end up dead. Darkness of eyes with sleep to come take, until the time when one must go wake, to the sound of a lull that sets you to fall, as it does for one, as it does for all. Step after step, a new path to tread, wandering about those who could have gone instead. For who am I among the many and small, all while I pursue what can only be a focused call? Light of the firework, and then it fades away. Flicker of a moment, as they say. Momentary lessons at the end of an ember, like celebrations held in the midst of December. A girl once had a belly to show, for she wanted people to know. With slow movements to tease, she would do as she'd please, towards hollow desires to flow. Errant wanderings of men gone aside, for a future they couldn't save, though they tried. But such is the way that things do go, as history repeats in its ebb and flow. Down with a penny, out with a pound of clever little creatures lurking around. You never thought to see them, never thought to stare before they open up their jaw and fight you like a bear. Hollow words were spoken under the chandelier of promises all had heard now broken. We heard the sound of winds whisper pretty lies. We heard the sound of wind whisper pretty lies. There we go. We heard the sound of wind whisper pretty lies. So, yeah. Of the ones who said that they would live, though their hearts are the ones who die, is laid down with the truth of the body to give. Fire in the night, under the pale moonlight, where heroes fought until the dawning light, to become tales of epics for everyone to see, the reason and method of a hero to be. Child in a puddle, getting wet from the water, splash, feet in the rain. Children's enjoyment, feeling of the new on skin, laughter in their joy. Rain falling down like a curtain upon the world that is uncertain, of people wandering around, looking for a place and ground. Answers at the edge of a wing that birds beyond the shore bring, from questions we all long to know, to find the path in which we should go. They all come a-falling down off the cliffs into the waters to drown, for who among them can swim as the lungs fill and the eyes grow dim? Yes, okay, here's another found poem. So, this is the type of found poem, and I haven't mentioned this before in any other volume or found poems afterwards. I kind of do mention, but the subtype of found poem this is a cento. Now, what a cento is, typically, it is where poets will take poems from other poetry or works of art, and they will combine that into something different. I do that, but with lyrics, as you've probably known from my previous found poems, and this is no different. And there should be 16 songs that I've taken from. Not that I'm going to tell you what they are. The crooks and believers all sing the same song. I'm the kid in the rain, celebrate the insane. I'm just a man, I'm only flesh and bone. Legs ain't got time to lay low. The craziest friend you've ever had, those darkest battle nights, have left a mark on my face. You're in too deep to go back again. Confuse me like a riddle, play me like a fiddle. Affecting the state of your mind, I did 1,000,000 stupid things where the whole world slips away. I miss my old emotions. World gone mad, let's start the show. Everything forbidden gets me high. Everything seems clear like the end is near. Guess I'll pay for this till the end of days. Spark the matches, light the fire. Show me the essence of your desire. Careful now where you touch, lest you burn, from the smoke and ashes that come in turn. A glass of wine during a moment of dinner, and in between the saint and the sinner, with a show of what love looks like to give, so that they may go and truly live. So many fish in the sea going their own way, once seen and then gone the next day, as we drift on by in our own isolation, while trying to find our own destination. We had a feeling and we started to write, for it to appear as anything that it might, off the chest and into the pages, taken within several days and stages. Looping around, feeling dizzy, rather crazy. No, looping around, feeling rather crazy, dizziness seeping now suddenly hazy, like the strange amount, like the strange, let me start that over. Looping around, feeling rather crazy, dizziness seeping now, suddenly hazy, the strange among the normal, the free among the formal. Dive right in and make a wish from the careful thoughts in a petri dish. Questions of the mind, call it biological. Lessons from the sane and logical. Planes set in and then they fall. Of moments we tend to stall. When with movements anywhere than where we must, in actions we can do anything but trust. What reasons to try and obtain in the midst of the mad and insane, of thoughts that we desire to learn before throwing it all to the fire to burn. When one moment runs into two, as we wandering around without a clue, with questions asked we did not hear, now haunted by the very thing I fear. Jolted awake by a sudden shake, bleary eyes trying to distinguish between real and fake before the desire to return back into bed, when the creatures of the night stroke your head. Ooh. Floating on 6 feet down under, through the storm and the thunder, as the waters crash and flow, while I follow a path I do not know. Moments of laughter from creatures in the forest, sounds we hear at night. Who really listens to what we have to say when our own thoughts get in the way? Answers so clear that we never heard from the sound of the mouth and word. The wind swept into the words below, through the forest of blinding snow, past the creaky how it flew by. Past the creaky. Should be past the creek, how it flew by. Into the lungs where one would soon die. Words held on together from opinions of men, whether it be greed or their pride, the end. Sound of rushing waters flooding into the city streets, as rumbling of earthquakes begin to shake the lead. So my body was shattered the moment you touched my hand. The sound of rushing waters flooding into the city streets, as the rumbling of earthquakes began to shake the land. So my body was shattered the moment you touched my hand. Okay, there we go. Word of color and shades of gray, fading ever softly day by day, as the time weathers all things away, forgotten and lost by future's day. Foreign, what the heck? Where did I get foreign? Did my eyes go cross-eyed? Maybe. I promise I'm not dyslexic. Stare at the mirror and the struggles I see, wondering of the things that should not be. For who is it that we seek to go and be more, and why do we break when we step out the door? Douse of water into a moment to awaken, to try and conquer life and all it's taken. Who are the fools who would go and be in our struggle? Oh, who are the fools who would go and be in our struggles to give up or to be free? It was never you. It was never. Oh. That should be a your. It was never your world or mine when all was never truly fine, as we slap away the extended hand from the divine gift set upon the land. Many a struggle from those who we do call. Many a struggle to whom do we call, in places we fall, in places we crawl, all for another lung of new air. Life has never been equal or fair. Oh, the greed of those who cry, as a victim demands things from the past. In their comfort and woe, never wondering why, things never truly come to stay, to last. How many enemies are you willing to make for the sake of convictions in your stance to take? Or will you change and break down so fragile and brittle? Do your convictions truly mean so little? What is a moment of hope without a moment of pain? Or whether it be sunny or cloudy with sudden rain, can we truly know the one without the other to prevent life coming to take and smother? Yeah, that would be great. We came across the talking trees amidst the shades of the dark woods, where there was a need to go please. We came across the talking trees, to whom we now must go. To whom now must we go appease? As merchants carrying our goods, we came across the talking trees, amidst the shade of the dark woods. Yeah. To whom shall we bow and bend the knee? With honor sought, to whom should it be? As individuality comes to resist, and the embarrassing moments that persist. Rage in their nature and will to fight for sections of life they do not find right, and so blow the trumpets of a holy war, never truly questioning the reason it's all for. All things must eventually come to an end, so question your life, and then you can. Let me start that again. All things must eventually come to an end, so question your life and how you should spend, for what is the future of yourself you see, and who is the person or character you long to be. And with that being said, that is going to be volume 23. Until volume 24. Until then, bye.